The Happiness Hypothesis by Jonathan Haidt examines how the mind affects happiness. He says that our emotional self controls our daily decision-making, yet we often assume our reasoning self does. This is not true. According to him, the mind is divided into two sections. The two sections can be analogized as a wild elephant that is being ridden by a human trying to control it. First, conscious thought cannot fully influence the body in the way we think we can. For example, our heartbeat is uncontrollable. It operates differently from the mind. This example shows a second mind that acts autonomously and cannot be controlled by rational thought. In the metaphor, our pulse rate is influenced by how fast our inner elephant is racing, not by the rider's rational conscious decision-making. Our brains also display this division. The neocortex controls inhibition and thinking, which helps us control the urges and desires from older brain regions like the limbic system. The neocortex helps the rider in our mind plan ahead and direct the elephant. However, in real life, we usually allow our emotions to overrule and direct us. Therefore, the elephant, which works involuntarily, is usually stronger than the rider. Our inner elephant judges everything we perceive, usually negatively. We react more strongly to negative things than we do to positive things, because our ancestors survived by being risk-averse. Similar to how a real elephant responds when it sees a mouse, our inner elephant overreacts with dread and concern over things that won't hurt us, like our work presentation. However, our genetics also influence our outlook. For instance, a study found that babies with more right brain activity were less cheerful, even into adulthood. According to other studies, genetics account for 50 to 80% of a person's average pleasure. Thus, our elephant cannot be controlled by our logical rider. However, the rider can employ specific techniques to make the elephant happier. Meditating consistently can greatly reduce pessimistic, negative thoughts and change our worldview. Another depression treatment, cognitive therapy, was developed in the 1960s. Cognitive therapy involves replacing negative, self-blaming ideas with good ones. How would you react to a Christmas card from a stranger? Returning a card is likely. Humans instinctively reciprocate. Since reciprocity greatly increased group survival, we became reciprocal humans. Consider hunting groups. If a group member kills more prey than he needs, he can share with a less privileged member. He loses by not sharing since excess food is squandered. If the other member reciprocates, he can expect the same amount. It's human nature to reciprocate, even when it's against our best interests. Consider this experiment. 2 participants receive $25. The first participant decides how the money is divided, while the second participant can simply accept or reject the offer. If the second declines, both parties lose. The first person should give the second a $1. However, most participants in this experiment gave half the total amount. If the first person gives less than $7, most of the second persons will reject and get nothing. This is intriguing because the receiver should prefer $1 to nothing. If reciprocity is violated, people frequently gossip about the offender. If someone doesn't reciprocate, we'll inform our group about them to get rid of them. Have you ever fought with someone and wondered how they can miss their own shortcomings and flaws? Probably shared. Since admitting our flaws is painful, we tend to overlook them. Consequently, our elephant and rider ignore them. If we're accused of wrongdoing, our elephant's answer is inner denial because we're so resistant to seeing our mistakes. The conscious rider quickly justifies the elephant's impulsive, rapid response. Instead of calmly considering the claim, the rider seeks evidence to back the elephant's initial outburst. The rider's predisposition for the elephant often causes tension. We think we're good because we see the world as good vs. Evil. Our mistakes go unnoticed. Take the typical living situation. Flatmates fight over who does more housework. One flatmate may think he cooks while the others think she cleans. Each flatmate overlooks the other's job and justifies it by saying, "But you like to cook." Therefore, it does not actually work for you. It's possible to break that cycle of blame. We can reduce cognitive biases by consciously looking for our own mistakes. Due to reciprocity, the other person will likely own their mistakes, allowing us to apologize and resolve the conflict. If we assume our thoughts determine whether things are good or bad, then the outside world doesn't affect our pleasure. This is somewhat true. We adapt quickly to new settings. Thus, external factors have little lasting impact on our satisfaction. From an evolutionary perspective, focusing and adapting to new situations has been more important than being joyful about old ones. One study compared lottery winners to neck-down paralyzed people's happiness levels. The research found that lottery winners were happy, but only temporarily. After several months, most participants in both groups had returned to their previous happy level. But some external variables are so important to our happiness that we cannot adapt to them. Healthy social ties are important since humans are social animals. We can be really sad without social ties. Relationships are the biggest external influence in happiness. In fact, people with more friends or happy marriages are happier on average. Social connectivity affects happiness, but not alone. We all have strengths and hobbies. If a person is a skilled communicator and has good interpersonal skills, a PR career will satisfy her. She'll never get used to this pleasure, but it will keep her pleased every day. The only thing you need is love, the Beatles said. Because love is crucial to our lives, it's irreplaceable. A strong link to the mother is essential for a child's healthy development, just like mother's milk. Children gain a sense of security and belonging from this link that they carry into adulthood. In fact, monkeys fed by strangers rather than their mothers didn't learn basic socialization or problem solving. The love we experience for our parents as children is analogous to romantic love later in life. Similarities include hugging, looking into each other's eyes, and separation dread. Because we need love, we shouldn't try to satisfy our romantic love with passionate love. We should aim for companionate affection. Passionate love, which is felt at the outset of a romantic relationship, usually fades after 6 months. At that point, companionate love might replace passionate love, which is similar to our sentiments for our parents and grows through time. Passionate love's short lifespan is shown by the brain's response, which is similar to drug-induced brain activity. It's a brief high. It's a myth that intense love lasts forever. When passionate love is gone, many people think a relationship has failed. Mistake. Allow companionate love to bloom instead. We often hear that overcoming adversity or tragedy leads to personal growth. Due to post-traumatic sadness, this isn't always true. Thus, when and how does adversity benefit? Most people who suffer benefit, according to research. After losing a job or a loved one, people's self-image alters and they gain confidence. Since we need to ask for and give aid during difficult times, it tends to strengthen current ties and friendships. Traumatic circumstances can also change our self-image and make us more realistic. Our writer believes that our self-concept defines us, such as being an ambitious career woman. However, our elephant intuitively wants to spend more time with people outside of one's work. The bigger the gap, the less satisfied we are. We can show our self-esteem during difficulties. A stressful event, like losing a family member, can cause us to rethink our self-concept. However, certain seasons in our lives are more beneficial for personal development through unfavorable occurrences. Teens and 20-somethings can profit from trauma, whereas children and adults over 30 are more susceptible because young adults are often searching for purpose. Emotionally stressful situations like a breakup might help them find coherence between their personality, self-concept, elephant, and rider. Throughout history, virtue has meant nobleness, charity, or morality. In ancient Rome and the Middle Ages, these traits were considered essential for happiness. Western morality is often wrong and ineffectual today. In contrast to many other cultures, Western youngsters are taught to think about morality rather than practice it, such as through mandatory social service. Only contemplating about morality won't affect our elephant. Train our elephant to become moral and noble. One way is altruism. We normally think of generosity as benefiting society. However, altruism benefits the individual. Altruistic activity enriches our life and links us to others, making us happier. For instance, one study found that older adults who helped others lived longer and happier than those who only received support. A community with a stable set of values can also teach our elephant morals. That kind of rule-governed environment enhances rider and elephant cohesion. According to a study, the degree to which social values are maintained in US neighborhoods is a good indicator of health. Since practicing morality and being surrounded by moral neighbors makes us happier. Living in a society with shared values and standards may be good for you and your kids. Religion is less important in the West than in other societies. Religions can provide awe-inspiring experiences even if you're not religious. Whether we're religious or not, our thoughts have a divinity scale depending on what we consider holy. Religion has always defined people, deeds, and objects by their holiness. Animal-like behaviors were dirty, whereas spiritual ones like ritual bathing or prayer were divine. In truth, even atheists recall their first kiss as memorable. Whether religious or not, awe-inspiring events can help us become happier, better people. Awe frequently comes from seeing something our minds can't comprehend, like the infinite stars in the sky, or a tremendous morally good deed. This amazement makes us happier because we're connected to something greater than ourselves. Certainly, it can link us to others, especially when we feel awe in group activities like singing or prayer. This would explain why many in the secular West feel like they're missing something. The West doesn't make room for supernatural encounters. The West has become realistic, assessing and rating everything based on its usefulness and disapproving religion. As a result, few people sense awe and most of us feel like we're missing something. Humans have always sought significance in life. Modern psychology has uncovered many ways to find purpose in life. First, having good relationships with ourselves and others makes us happier. Since we're partially social and somewhat individual, our desires often conflict. Should I help others or should I help myself? Since this is human nature, we must surround ourselves with people we care about because helping others means helping ourselves. Second, your work must match your morals to make you happy. Finding work meaningful requires that your personal values match those of your job. A study found that hospital janitors who considered they were part of a team that helped patients by setting and maintaining doctors' working rooms were happier than those who thought their work was just unpleasant. Finally, a fulfilling life requires a relationship with someone higher than oneself. Religion has always been part of society because it connects people to God or to one another. Meditation helps us connect to something bigger and mystical, like nature or humanity. Understanding people and ourselves is key to happiness